Ten wrestlers that WWE never gave a chance to. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos and follow us on Facebook for exclusive lists. Number 10. The Ascension. During their time in NXT, the Ascension tag team had an interesting gimmick, and the duo were presented as a menacing, almost unbeatable threat. The duo ran through the tag division in their respective brand, and when it was time for WWE to call them up to the main roster, fans had high hopes, as they had a great look and an imposing nature, something that should have favored them when it came to Vince McMahon. Unfortunately, McMahon never gave the duo a fair chance, as he would proceed to make them a cheap carbon copy of the Road Warriors, and fans instantly rejected this new presentation. McMahon would also book the duo to be embarrassed by legends on an episode of Raw in early 2015. During this time, JBL, who was established as WWE's heel commentator and would always favor the heels, completely buried the duo on TV, and this was a sign that McMahon loathed the former NXT Tag Team Champions and wanted to humiliate them. The duo's run on the main roster was completely cursed, as they never managed to break away from the rotten booking that WWE initially presented them with. Number 9. Diamond Dallas Page. One of the more frustrating elements of the Invasion storyline of 2001 was the WWE's handling of DDP. Diamond Dallas Page was one of WCW's top stars, and he should have in theory a huge player for WWE. It was almost as if the individuals executing DDP's creative in WWE had never even watched his prior work, as they proceeded to make him a creepy stalker, and the fans instantly knew that this was never going to work. He almost looked uncomfortable in the role, and it was a far cry from his prior persona, as all WWE had to do was give the former world champion a chance to recapture the magic of his WCW run. A combination of backstage politics as well as a horrid reception to the gimmick led to the WWE losing faith in him, and by 2002 he was cemented in the lower mid-card, and there was zero chance that DDP would ever get an opportunity to become a main event level attraction in the company. Number 8. Chris Masters. Now, there's no denying that Chris Masters was given a chance at superstardom during his first WWE run. However, they put him in a difficult position, as Masters wasn't remotely ready to be a main eventer, and all he had was an impressive physique, which wasn't enough to get him over with the audience. In 2009, they decided to re-sign the Masterpiece, and this run was a joy to watch, as Masters got better with each passing week, and although he was mainly used on C-level shows such as Superstars, he was slowly but surely organically connecting with the crowd. Despite this career resurgence, WWE never bothered to book Masters in a meaningful storyline, and when they once again cut ties with him in 2011, there was justified outrage from fans. Even CM Punk referenced Masters' improvement in a shoot promo, so it was clear that even the locker room was fully aware that Masters should have been given an opportunity. Number 7. CJ Parker. It can be the case in wrestling that WWE really don't know what they've got until it's gone, and this was definitely the case with CJ Parker. Parker was mainly used as an enhancement talent in NXT, and he rarely got to show how good he was. All the fans knew of Parker was that he had the ability to get other talent over, and he was fantastic at wrestling fundamentals such as selling. When Parker left WWE, he would soon find himself in New Japan Pro Wrestling, and fans were collectively blown away by his work. Parker, now known as Juice Robinson, was a mesmerizing performer, and most of the praise was going towards his promo work, as it was truly incredible. Parker would become one of New Japan Pro Wrestling's major players, and it was even reported that WWE were interested in bringing him back into the promotion. Number 6. Gail Kim. When WWE brings that talent back after a successful run in another promotion, it should be the case that they give that talent every single resource to succeed, and this should mean that they can maximize on their investment. However, when the WWE brought back Gail Kim, who had one of the greatest female runs in TNA history, it was evident early on that they had no long-term plans for her, and they weren't going to give her the opportunities she was given in TNA. Kim would be wrestling in 2-minute matches, and she was rarely given anything substantial to do. The only time they seemed interested in booking her was when it came to romance angles, which highlighted the issues with WWE's presentation of the women's division at the time. Kim would reflect on this horrendous run during an interview with 411 Wrestling. This is what she had to say. Yeah, you know, if I'm gonna be completely honest, but when I went back, I did clear my path in terms of how I felt, and I really was optimistic. And at that time, I remember, because it was past the diva search and all that stuff, that kind had already long gone, and they were starting to have the women wrestle again. So I felt very positive, and I was like, okay, I'm stronger, I'm wiser, I have more experience under my belt. And I'd done the stuff with Awesome Kong, so it did build more confidence. And so when I went back, it was disappointing, I will say. I'll say that I never felt like I was used to my potential, you know? Kim is spot on with this assessment, and it was often theorized by fans that WWE brought her back just so TNA would be without another top star, and they never truly wanted to feature her in a meaningful role. Number 5. EC3. During his time as WWE chairman, Vince McMahon often made ridiculous impulsive decisions, and one of them was giving up on EC3. When EC3 was called up from NXT to the main roster, he was presented in a feud with Dean Ambrose, and this should have given EC3 a chance to connect with the crowd, yet when the fans actively cheered Ambrose, McMahon decided that EC3 had blown his big moment, and he was suddenly no longer interested in him. This was ridiculous, because if this rationale was used throughout WWE history, then numerous names, including Roman Reigns, Triple H, and even John Cena, would have lost their place on the card. EC3 was never given another chance to succeed in the company, and yet it was another sign that McMahon was completely out of touch with modern wrestling. Number 4. Jake the Snake Roberts. When fans compile lists of the greatest names to never win a WWE title, Jake Roberts is usually at the top of the list. Roberts was known for his bone-chilling gimmick and his ability to draw the audience in through his compelling promo work. He had every tool it took to be WWE's resident top guy, yet WWE always seemed to get cold feet when it came to presenting him as such. Roberts indeed worked with top names throughout his career, however he was never truly given an opportunity to be that defined top heel and potentially WWE champion. Additionally, it's often been an urban legend that they were once planning a feud between Roberts and Hulk Hogan, however after Roberts was cheered in a pre-taped segment between the two, the feud was instantly cancelled, and WWE decided to disintegrate the once-in-a-lifetime opportunity that could have changed Roberts' career forever. Number 3. Raven. Raven would re-sign for WWE in 2000, and this came following critically acclaimed runs in ECW and WCW respectively. Fans knew that Raven was immensely talented, yet there was concern that Vince McMahon would never give Raven the right opportunity to show what he was made of. Raven would debut as a friend of Taz, and within a matter of weeks, Raven was already competing for the hardcore title, a division he would be embedded in for the next few years. Raven was never given any meaningful storylines outside of truly bizarre angles, such as feuding with Perry Saturn and his mop, and all it would have taken is for WWE to invest the time into giving that vastly underrated star a chance at a meaningful story on TV. Number 2. Tyler Breeze. During the height of the NXT brand, it was a norm for wrestlers to be called up and then Vince McMahon to completely ruin them within a matter of months. When Tyler Breeze was called up, he was established as being one of the most consistent and over characters on the NXT brand, and he had every tool it took to be a great addition to WWE's mid-card. Things started off well for Breeze as he would defeat former world champion Dolph Ziggler on pay-per-view, but then things went wrong, as Breeze would then begin to lose more and more matches, and he would sporadically be used on WWE programming. It was reported back in 2015 that Breeze obtained backstage heat when he was asked to leave a show early, and this could have led to WWE never giving him a fair chance on the main roster. Breeze would discuss his main roster run on Busted Open Radio, and he stated that he believes that Vince McMahon didn't see him the same way Triple H did.
So when I got called up, I kind of had an idea, you know what I mean? It's not like you're clueless going into this thing that I'm not the biggest guy, so, you know, that's automatically working against you. I was very much a character that you're either going to love it or you're going to hate it. I don't know if there's a middle ground. And when I came up, I just don't know if Vince saw the same thing that Hunter did. And that's why he paired me with Summer Rae.
And number 1, Taz. Any concern that WWE may fail to use Taz in a meaningful way was squashed when Taz debuted in early 2000. He was booked to defeat Kurt Angle, and the WWE mastered his presentation as Taz legitimately looked like the next big thing. Unfortunately, this didn't last, as just within a few weeks, Taz would fall dramatically down the card. He was booked to face Big Boss Man at the No Way Out pay-per-view, and logic would indicate that this would be another easy victory for Taz. However, the WWE decided to end the match via DQ. Following the dreadful No Way Out match, Taz would then be relegated to the hardcore division, and within a few short weeks, he would be booked to lose to Crash Holly on SmackDown. Whilst Holly was a great talent, Taz was defeating Angle just a few weeks prior, and now he was unable to be a lower card talent. Something had just gone extremely wrong. Outside the initial presentation, they never gave Taz a fair shot at being the big-time player in the company. It wouldn't be long before he would transition into a commentator and leave the days of suplexing other men behind him. But there you have it, folks, 10 wrestlers that WWE never gave a chance to. Be sure to leave your comments down below, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.